Johnny's mommy said, oh, Johnny, will you brush your teeth? Oh, Johnny, will you brush your teeth? Johnny looked up at Mom and he said, speak a little louder, Mom, I really didn't hear you. Speak a little louder, Mom, I really didn't hear you. So in her very loudest voice, Johnny's mommy said, oh, Johnny, will you comb your hair? Oh, Johnny, will you comb your hair? Johnny looked up at Mom and said, speak a little louder, Mom, I really didn't hear you. Speak a little louder, Mom, I really didn't hear you. So Johnny's mommy scratched her head, and she thought, I think Johnny's tricking me. I think he's fooling me. So in her very softest voice, Johnny's mommy said, oh, Johnny, would you like an ice cream cone? Oh, Johnny, would you like an ice cream cone? This time, yes, Mommy, now I really hear you. Yes, Mommy, now I really hear you. So Johnny's mommy said, okay, Johnny, first you need to wash your face and brush your teeth and comb your hair, and then we're going to run all kinds of errands. We're going to go to Grandma's and the grocery store, and when we're done, we'll both have ice cream cones. Okay, real quick here, folks. Just because, Carrie, I can do a whole other day on dual language learners, which is my sort of deep cause right now, but we're going to sing it real quick in another language. Here we go. Ready? Juanito, lávate tu carita. Juanito, lávate tu carita. Háblame más alto, mami, que yo no te oigo. Háblame más alto, mami, yo que te ne oigo. Juanito, lávate tus dientes. Juanito, lávate tus dientes. Háblame más alto, mami, que yo no te oigo. Háblame más alto, mami, que yo no te oigo. Juanito, peínate tu pelo. Juanito, peínate tu pelo. Háblame más alto, mami, que yo no te oigo. Háblame más alto, mami, que yo no te oigo. Juanito, ¿quieres un helado? Juanito, ¿quieres un helado? Sí, mami, ahora yo te oigo. Sí, mami, ahora yo te oigo. Okay. It's a good thing my voice is going. Okay, it's your turn. At your tables, just quickly here, talk about that. Why do 4 and 5-year-olds like that song? What's it tell us about their development and learning? Just mention a few things why 4 and 5-year-olds like that song. What's in that song? What's going on that meets their needs, that addresses their development? Go ahead and do that for a moment there.
Very good.
Okay, so in terms of time,
so we'll do the break when you're done. And Carrie said maybe a 10-minute break, just a quick one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Okay, so if we
so
we'll do this. This will just for about. that'll probably work, because this will take us up to probably a little, do this for a few minutes, and we'll go up to after, and I'll have them do that.
Activity sheet.
Yeah. Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, this should be fine, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
that'll work out great.
So you're going to bring it back together?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we were just talking, so we're fine, we're okay on the schedule.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to bring it back now. Oh. Okay. Can I just hear a few of the reasons why you think 4 and 5-year-olds would like that song?
It's repetitive.
Repetition. And okay, I'm so glad that she was not a plant, but it is so key to good instruction in early childhood. It is at the heart of good instruction, and it so fits with what we're talking about with warm, interactive language. It is the repetition. I always, for me to sort of conceptualize it and try to get into the mind of the 4 and 5-year-old, my brother and I love to do jigsaw puzzles. And so we've kind of done them and holidays, we would do them, and so that we work on a 500 piece jigsaw puzzle, and struggle to find the pieces, and then we get that final piece in that jigsaw puzzle, and there's this tremendous sense of satisfaction, and then we never want to see that puzzle again. It's like, and we don't even want to do the same puzzle anymore. It was like we have this great sense of satisfaction from completing it. Okay, the 4 and 5-year-old is working on a puzzle, and when you look at them trying to find the pieces, they look very much like my brother and I do, trying to find those pieces. When the 4 and 5-year-old finishes that puzzle, what do? Dump it and start again. They dump it and start, because once is not enough, twice is not enough, 3 times is not enough. It is only through repetition that they achieve the sense of mastery. It is, and the ability then to move on to that next stage. So that you need to look at a lot of repetition. And one of the things, this is a more recent sort of aha on my part around the repetition. It is so important that there be repetition, because change and development are happening so rapidly at this age that each time that the repetition occurs, the child's a different child. So what happens is children are bringing their due development to those repetitive activities. So at the heart of a good TK classroom, that you may see the same activity at different times of the year in there, and you think, oh, they're repeating that activity. The child is different. The teaching and the learning needs to be different. How many of you read Goodnight Moon to your own children? So think about your child in Goodnight Moon and that book that probably you thought, if I have to read that book one more time, I'm going to But think about what happens with kids in reading that book. Okay, the first time through, they may be sitting there reading, and that you're talking about it. And then as you're reading the next night, overnight, they start pointing out pictures, and then they start pointing to words. So it's the same book, but it's a different child. It's a different, I say a classic example is Play-Doh. I mean, in terms of what a child does with Play-Doh on that first day of TK and the possibilities for what may happen, it's phenomenal. So we have that opportunity for kids to learn and grow and express their mastery through that repetition and the need for it. So we've got repetition. Other things in that song? Kinesthetic. Yes, absolutely. Right. And so that active, interactive stuff in this song. And one of the things, I say this, we know, if you ask a group of people who work with young children to name a strong characteristic of young children, every time I've done this, people will say they're movers. You just did it. Okay. People will say they're movers. And yet, what do we in education say over and over to groups of kids? Sit down, sit still. Right, sit down, sit still. And yet, the same people would describe kids as movers, and those same people, when they get... So one of the things that this brain research is helping us, and Patricia Kuhl, K-U-H-L, is the fact that we know that actually the brain is more active when we're moving. So that one of the things is, how do we integrate movement and activity into teaching? It's not one thing that happens now and one thing that happens. How do we integrate the two? It is not running around wildly. but it is how do we use the movement and the activity to help with that learning. So other things in that song?
They're so used to, doing this every single day to their parents.
Right.
With their parents.
Right.
No, I'm not going to listen to you.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to talk about two things. She said, with their parents, I'm not going to listen to you. So that the first thing I'm going to say is with their parents. It's real and relevant. So that book that Sue Bredekamp wrote, Developmentally Appropriate Practice, she says developmentally appropriate curriculum is real and relevant to the lives of children. Real and relevant to the lives of children. So one of the things that we talk about, especially when we talk about kids who've come from not such rich backgrounds, I don't mean rich monetarily, but how do we bring those activities to the classrooms so they become real and relevant? There's a wonderful woman who died recently named Bev Boss, who was an early childhood educator. And Bev had this thing about young kids. She said, if it's not in the hand, it's not in the brain. So how do we bring those experiences? That's that rich, integrated, experiential curriculum. How do we make sure kids are having those experiences that become real and relevant? So this song is real and relevant to them because it's something we do, every day. But also what we do every day is get in struggles with our parents. I mean, that is real and relevant. So there's this joy here in playing through that, and it becomes playful. It becomes playful in that dealing with a real issue of mastery and control in a playful way. It is, and one of the things that people sometimes will say about, well, wait a minute, aren't you teaching kids to ignore their mother? It's like in this song. No, we play around with all those things that are difficult and challenging. Kids like to play around with things that are challenging. If you've ever seen kids play doctor's office, have any of you ever watched kids play doctor's office? What's the activity that is most common in every time they play doctor's office?
They love to give each other their shots.
The shots, right. It is absolutely, it is the shots. It's not that they like shots. It is how do we come to master something? At this age, we come to master through repetition and playing over and over. So it is to really begin, that's the thing that's so interesting about when we say trying to learn how 3-year-olds learn, or 4-year-olds, or 5-year-olds, is to get into that. So I'm going to, you already did all of this. I'm just going to talk about these developmental themes: active, interactive, movement, serve and return. That there's a serve and return. That concrete thinkers, they're real and relevant. That need for repetition, predictability, and routine. Use of play to make sense of the world. And drive toward mastery. Those are all things. So as we talk about what our TK classroom should look like, let's get those, can we get those things out now? Let's get those out now, right? So that what I want you to do now, just for, we're going to give you a break in just a few minutes, don't worry. What I'd like you to do now is to look at those up there, and I've got a sheet that has them on there. And just for a few minutes at your tables, to think about your TK classrooms. Or if you're not at a school, to think about TK classrooms you've visited, and talk about how teachers are addressing those themes. Talk about what you see now. Elizabeth's going to give you some information about what you might want to develop and move on to, but to really talk about any of the things, just jot down some things that you're seeing now as you go around that really would address those things in terms. So take a few minutes, take a look at that, and it doesn't mean this is not any kind of, this isn't a test, this isn't even a judge, just to sort of think about in your own rooms what you're seeing that would address those issues.